Well, 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 what have we here? Yesterday when I recorded the narration for one of the parts of Let's Break Super Meat Boy, I mentioned that, I didn't really see myself ever doing Chapter 4 in the Dark World with Meat Boy because it was just too frustrating. And, as is wont to happen, as soon as I said that, I had this, urge to just do it and get it over with. So I decided, you know what, let's knock that part out of here. I make no promises about doing the Rapture Dark World, on camera anyway. But this should tide you over for a little bit anyway. Please know that as you watch this, countless minutes of my own suffering went into both recording this and editing this. These levels are serious pains in the ass. They're hard as Steve, but some of them are borderline impossible as Meat Boy. This is one of those levels, particularly when I have the Minecraft moonwalk kind of situation going on, where I have to constantly be walking in the opposite direction that the platforms are moving in order to stay alive. All in all, the first two levels of Hell in the Dark World are actually some of the tougher ones for me. The first handful of worlds, actually, in general, even Char, which is not that bad as Meat Boy, gives me a little bit of trouble here. I think this one is easier as Meat Boy than it is as Steve, but this doesn't stop me from, throwing myself to my death over and over and over in exactly the same fashion here. Maybe I'll try triple jumping instead. Yeah, there we go. So that should give me enough height to make that jump and still be able to outrun the lava. The Dark World in Hell is as hard as you would expect it to be. Not nearly as bad as the Dark World in the Rapture, or God fucking forbid the Dark World in Cotton Alley, which, I would not keep your fingers crossed for that one. Don't hold your breath. It would be nice if I could ever get the second half of the Light World of Cotton Alley recorded and uploaded. The Dark World is a distant pipe dream at this point, but, who knows, maybe if I'm still playing this game in 2 years, I can make a guess at it there, or a chance at it there. Now, this is a level that I actually thought was going to be impossible to film, because whenever I film, I get the same kind of effect on those moving platforms where they move me along with them. I thought the jump would be impossible, but I actually found that wall jump through the saws was much easier while I was recording. So, you win some, you lose some. Predominantly, you lose some, particularly when you're playing this game, but every now and then things work out for the best. Now, this is a level that's actually a little bit easier than it looks, and of course, as usual, as soon as I say that, I die. But, yeah, this one looks like it would be one of the hardest levels in the game, but it's actually not that bad as long as your timing is okay. You've got probably, a 0.1 second window in order to make that, 0.1 second buffer zone, I should say, in order to make those drops, which, in the context of Super Meat Boy, is actually kind of a long time, at least when we get to this point in the game. A lot of stupid deaths on this, just because I was kind of I was picking my shot on this jump, but I stood a little bit too close to the saws. Happens to the best of us, and happens to me too. But all in all, actually, when I recorded this, I had a pretty solid run. What you're seeing right now is about 11 minutes, and I think the recording overall took me about half an hour, which actually is not that bad. I think I did worse when I recorded the Chapter 3 Dark World for the Salt Factory. But then again, that was, almost 3 months ago. So I'd like to think I've gotten a little bit better at the game. Still, I think if I do choose to do the Dark World for the Rapture, which, I'm leaning towards now, I don't want to leave this Let's Play incomplete. Even though I have for a long time. It's gonna be an editing nightmare. Maybe I'll save the death footage from that and then speed it up and put it in some kind of montage, commemorative montage to honor the fact that we're basically completing the disc levels of Super Meat Boy. But of course, there is the new Super Meat World that is coming out sometime in the next few weeks, apparently, according to Team Meat's Twitter, that it's on the go and should only be a couple more weeks. And I do plan to Let's Play the best user-created levels, or, maybe the hardest user-created levels. We'll see. So if you're an aspiring level editor and you make some stuff, send me a message. Maybe I'll be able to feature it. It'll be good for both of us. Maybe I can give you guys some exposure, get your levels played, and you give me something that will probably frustrate me endlessly. That's even, right? I think that's even. This level has one of the most heinous jumps that you have to make at the end to finish it. If you can kind of, peek on the side there, see there's no platforms for you to get to Bandage Girl. You gotta jump out and then wall jump over to her on that like 1 block wide. That is a 1 block wide section of the wall. So that is one of my least favorite obstacles. And actually this level is one of my least favorite levels. Just because your jumps have to be absolutely perfect. It reminds me of that one jump on Omega where you have to get the key and then jump down through the saws, but 10 times worse because we're a lot later in the game. I smell wet fur. I have no idea what that means. I did a little research online and looks like other people aren't really sure what it means either. So if you understand what I smell wet fur means and you can communicate that to me without making some kind of dirty pun, then please leave me a comment or send me a message or something, because I have no idea at all what that means. I thought maybe I'd unlocked Meat Ninja in the PC version, but I think I'm still a little ways away from that, although not too much. This is a level that actually gets significantly harder in the Dark World, as most of them do, obviously. But the real hard part is that you have to do this kind of circuit 3 times, so you want to leave some blocks on that wall for you to wall jump. And I came so close to making it with my first attempt, but unfortunately botched it a little bit. So you kind of want to take 3 different routes, if at all possible, if you know what I mean. Like 3 different jumping patterns, let's put it that way. Because you want to leave some blocks for your 3rd and 2nd run up the wall. And if you just do it the same way every single time, like jump in the same spot on the wall, those blocks are obviously going to dissolve and you're going to be shit out of luck. But if you take a little bit more of a direct route sometimes, a little bit more of a circuitous route other times, you should be okay. And that's pretty much what I did right there. This level actually, once you figure out the pattern, is not really that much harder than its Light World counterpart. Generally with these levels, I prefer these because once you figure out the pattern, you're basically good to go. The levels that require more precision platforming as opposed to just memorizing a pattern are a lot harder, and it's a lot more variable every time you play the game. I mean, you're not just gonna play the level once and be like, oh, I've got it now. Even when you replay it over and over, there's a certain margin for error. This level actually, I usually hate these homing bullet things, but on this level, for whatever reason, I find them pretty easy to navigate. Pretty easy to avoid. This level's actually not so bad either. Apparently, any level with those bullet bills, I do not have much of a problem in the Dark World. It's just the Light World where they piss me off to no end and cause me to die 50 or 60 times on one level. This level looks a lot worse than it is. It's relatively easy. No editing required on that, which is more than I can say for this level right here. This one was hard as Steve. In fact, one of the hardest to record as Steve in the entire game, not just in Chapter 4, but yeah, as Meat Boy, it takes on a whole different degree of difficulty. This one, if we're giving like 1 out of 10 is the first level of the forest, and 10 out of 10 is the first level of the Kids Warp Zone. That one's hovering around 8 or 9. And I don't say that lightly. I think most of these are around 6 or 7, at least at this point. But the Dark World of Cotton Alley is actually, I think, consistently harder than any level in the Kids Warp Zone. So for those of you who have not seen the Dark World of Cotton Alley yet, that hopefully just gave you a little bit of nightmare fuel. And also, perhaps a little bit of sympathy for me, and you can understand why I will never in my life be able to record that unless I become some kind of Super Meat Boy Yoda playing this game well into my old age. But even then, maybe my motor function would be failing, so, don't get your hopes up. That's all I'm trying to say. Maybe next Christmas, kiddo. And again, this is another one that actually does not cause me too much trouble, but caused me a lot of trouble in the Light World. Most of the time when I die on it, it's by my own stupid mistake. Just falling into the lava, as you can see me do repeatedly over and over and over. I think the only difference really between this level in the light world and this level in the dark world is that the bullet bills shoot a little bit faster. And this level is a pain in the ass in the dark world. As Steve, it was easy because you could just break through that wall and then, come out the other side. But no such luck here. Every room is kind of a different obstacle that you faced throughout the Hell Dark World so far. So you got the lasers you can see in the next room, the rising lava here, and then the room after that we've got Bullet Bill. Oh, that was a heartbreaking death. I remember how I felt when that one happened. And the last room has a Bullet Bill. Here we've got some fireballs we got to jump around. Though the worst part about dying at the end of this level is the fact that it's like, fully a minute long. Or at least it feels like a minute long in Meat Boy terms because, it's only been 20 seconds, but this is like longer than probably 80% of the levels in the game at this point. I wonder if I get the A+ time on here. We'll see about that. So yeah, I'd kind of stall a little bit on that bridge to give the Bullet Bill time to fire so I can escape. Thanks for watching, guys. This is a special episode for me. See you next time.